A millionaire pretends to be poor and decides to work at his own hotel to check on his staff. He discovers something shocking. Before we start the story, comment below with the city you're watching from. Enjoy the story. Everyone. Harrison Blake always believed his hotel was impeccable. Then he started hearing rumors about unequal treatment given to certain guests. He heard comments about employees ignoring less wealthy clients and managers only attending to high. A millionaire pretends to be poor and decides to work at his own hotel to check on his staff. He discovers something shocking. Before we start, comment below with the city you're watching from. Enjoy the story. Everyone. Harrison Blake always believed his hotel was impeccable. He started hearing rumors about unequal treatment given to certain guests. He was troubled by comments about employees ignoring less wealthy clients and managers only attending to high-class individuals. He knew that as the owner, he would hardly hear the truth from his own staff. He decided to act. "I'll work undercover at my own hotel," he thought, already outlining the details of the plan. A few days later, wearing jeans and a simple t-shirt, Harrison entered the reception area. To everyone there, he was just Hank, a new employee. No one had any idea that behind that modest appearance was the actual owner of the hotel, disguised. He felt the adrenaline rush as he observed the movements of guests and the behavior of employees, with fake documents handed to HR. He was quickly assigned to cleaning duty and kept an eye on the basic training he was given. Everything was new. Even the treatment. Much colder than he expected, with a broom in hand and a worn in his uniform. Harrison found himself in his hotel, ready to discover the truth. In the first few days, Hank faced the reality of a normal employee's routine. He swept floors, cleaned windows, removed stains from the fancy furniture he had chosen himself. The routine was exhausting. He quickly realized how much Harrison, now known as Hank, was new to his job. He was an ordinary employee. He swept the floors, cleaned the windows, removed stains from the furniture he had chosen himself. This was exhausting. He quickly realized how much he had underestimated the work of his team. Besides the physical fatigue, some older employees disdained him. The manager, Paul, ignored him or gave him disdainful looks. Paul seemed to only have eyes for the wealthier guests, giving special attention to those who flaunted their wealth. Harrison observed everything carefully, noting every detail. On the third day, while he had underestimated the work of his team, besides being tired, he noticed that some older employees didn't like him. The manager, Paul, ignored him or looked at him in a mean way. Paul only seemed to like rich guests. He gave special attention to those who showed off their wealth. Harrison watched everything carefully, noting every detail. On the third day, while cleaning the second-floor hallway, he met Lily Evans, a young maid who smiled at everyone. She wore her uniform with elegance. Although the worn sleeves and scuffed shoes revealed her difficult financial situation, her face showed genuine kindness. She approached Harrison and, with a warm smile, offered to help carry a heavy cleaning cart. "You're new here, aren't you?" she asked as they pushed the cart down. He realized that he had underestimated the work of his team. Besides being tired, he noticed that some older employees disdained him. The manager, Paul, ignored him or looked at him with disdain. Paul seemed to only like the wealthier guests, giving special attention to those who flaunted their wealth. Harrison observed everything carefully, noting every detail. On the third day, while walking down the hallway together. Yes. I am. It seems I have a lot to learn. Harrison replied, surprised by her friendliness. Lily laughed. Don't worry. It's complicated at first. You'll get the hang of it soon. And as hard as it is, it's honest work. Her words made him reflect. Here was someone who, despite the hardships, seemed happy and grateful. He watched her help colleagues, assist guests needing. He had not realized how much work his team was doing. Some older employees did not like him. Harrison noticed. The manager, Paul, ignored him or looked at him in a mean way. Paul only seemed to like rich guests. He gave special attention to those who showed off their wealth. Harrison watched and listened carefully. On the third day, while he was getting information and even getting a glass of water for an elderly lady who was complaining about the heat, Lily's attention and care for everyone left an impact on him. Harrison began to realize that his investigation was just beginning. That young maid already showed the kind of dedication and integrity he didn't see in many of his executives. At the end of the shift, he thanked her for the help. Lily smiled again. He had underestimated the work of his own team. Besides the physical fatigue, the disdain from some older employees didn't go unnoticed. The manager, Paul, had a habit of ignoring him or giving him disdainful looks. Paul seemed to only have eyes for the wealthier guests, giving special attention to those who flaunted their wealth. Harrison observed everything carefully, noting every detail. On the third day, while unaware that she was talking to the owner of the hotel, Harrison left the hotel that day, reflecting on the simplicity and kindness he found in Lily. In the following days, Harrison discreetly tried to stay close to Lily whenever possible, observing not just her work, her attitude in every task. Unlike the other employees, who often worked on autopilot, she treated each guest with care, as if she were welcoming them. He had underestimated the work of his own team. Besides the physical fatigue, the disdain from some older employees didn't go unnoticed. The manager, Paul, had a habit of ignoring him or giving him disdainful looks. Paul seemed to only have eyes for the wealthier guests, giving special attention to those who flaunted their wealth. Harrison observed everything carefully, noting every detail. On the third day, while someone into her own home, in one of these interactions, Harrison finally got the chance to talk to her during a brief break. The two were sitting in the staff area, a small space with plastic chairs and a coffee machine that seemed decades old. Lily was resting with a glass of water in her hands and a thoughtful look on her face. So, Lily, have you been here long? Harrison asked, trying to keep the tone casual. Harrison watched and listened closely. On the third day, she gave a small smile, as if she were used to answering the same question. Almost 2 years. It's not easy. I like what I do. This place is almost like a second home to me. I imagine it must be hard to balance work and personal life. Right? He continued, curious about what she went through outside of work. Lily looked at him and hesitated for a moment. Then she seemed to trust him. Yeah. I'm a single mom. I have a 6-year-old son Ben. He's my reason for everything that I work here to give him a decent life and show him that with hard work we can achieve things. It's not easy. It's worth it. Harrison stayed silent. absorbing her words that he noticed the intensity and sincerity in her gaze. In that moment he realized that his purpose. He had underestimated the work of his team. Besides the physical fatigue, the disdain from some older employees didn't go unnoticed. The manager, Paul, had a habit of ignoring him or giving him disdainful looks. Paul seemed to only have eyes for the wealthier guests, giving special attention to those who flaunted their wealth. Harrison observed everything carefully, noting every detail. On the third day, while investigating the hotel, it was no longer just about the service. About understanding the lives and sacrifices of the people working for him. "You're very strong, Lily," he said, surprising himself with the sincerity of his compliment. She smiled a bit shyly. "I think we all have some strength inside. We just need a reason to use it." As they returned to work, Harrison started to really like Lily. His time at the hotel started to mean more to him. He realized that he could learn a lot from this young mother. She was humble and determined. She was the opposite of everything Harrison had forgotten. In the following days, Harrison started to pay even more attention to Lily. He noticed how she made the space around her more lively. She was always ready to help her coworkers and take care of guests with a smile. Lily was the first to offer help. Whether it was pushing heavy carts or taking care of the simplest requests from guests. Everything about her, it was real. Harrison felt that this was exactly what was missing in the cold, automated service he had seen so far. One afternoon, as he was adjusting pillows in one of the rooms, he overheard Lily talking with a coworker, Carla, about her dreams. She was talking about wanting to study nursing and help people. Harrison felt that Lily was genuine. He thought that was important. He had seen a lot of cold, automated service. He thought that Lily's warmth was exactly what was missing. One afternoon, Harrison was adjusting pillows in a room when he overheard Lily talking with a coworker named Carla. Lily said that she wanted to study nursing and help others in a more meaningful way. Harrison listened to every word. "I want to show Ben that we can work hard and achieve our dreams," Lily said. Her eyes sparkled. "But right now, every cent I earn goes toward rent, food, what he needs for school," Lily continued. Her determination: "If I could change anything in my life right now, I would change how much time I spend with Ben. He's my priority. Sometimes I feel like I want to show Ben that we can work hard and achieve our dreams. You know," Lily said with a sparkle in her eyes. "Right now, every cent I earn goes toward rent, food, what he needs for school." Her determination touched him in a way he couldn't explain. Harrison couldn't help but feel growing admiration for Lily. The connection he felt with her grew stronger each day. He remembered how he'd started his career facing challenges and obstacles, always with the resources and opportunities his family provided. She, on the other hand, seemed to be navigating much rougher waters without a safety net, with immense strength that he found inspiring. At the end of her shift, he found her in the back area of the hotel, staff carefully folding her uniform. He walked over, feeling the need to learn more about this woman who was stirring something inside him. "Lily, if you could change anything in your life right now, what would it be?" he asked, trying to come across as just a curious friend. She thought for a moment before answering, as if the weight of the question required deep reflection. "I think I'd spend more time with Ben. He's my priority. Sometimes I feel like work takes up so much of my time. If I could, I'd be there for every moment with him, Harrison nodded, thinking deeply about what Lily had said. It made him think about his own distance from family and friends because of work. It was a disconnection he had chosen. Now it felt like too high a sacrifice over the days. He and Lily continued to if I could change anything in my life right now, I'd spend more time with Ben. He's my priority. Sometimes I feel like growing closer. Almost without realizing it. Their friendship deepened with each conversation. Harrison discovered that this journey was bringing him something unexpected, the rediscovery of values he had once left behind. By the end of that week, he knew that his presence there wasn't just about the hotel anymore. He found himself drawn to Lily's simplicity, kindness, strength, feeling a genuine connection with her. As Harrison settled into the work routine and spent more time with the staff, he began to see clearly what was really going on. Lily. If you could change anything in your life right now, what would it be? He asked, trying to come across as just a curious friend. She thought for a moment before answering, as if the weight of the question required deep reflection. I think I'd spend more time with Ben. He's my priority. Sometimes I feel like happening behind the scenes at the hotel. While many employees like Lily worked tirelessly, the environment was far from healthy. The manager, Paul, bothered him deeply. He was arrogant and dismissive. He made a point of belittling employees in lower positions. Paul was known for treating wealthy clients with excessive deference while completely ignoring more modest guests. On a particularly busy day, Harrison witnessed Paul unnecessarily reprimanding a young employee just to impress an influential guest passing through the lobby. This behavior made Harrison feel the weight of his decision to stay incognito. He wanted to intervene. He knew if you could change anything in your life right now, what would it be? He asked, trying to come across as just a curious friend. She thought for a moment before answering, as if the weight of the question required deep reflection. I think I'd spend more time with Ben. He's my priority. Sometimes I feel like mission required patience. Paul didn't like the staff and made them feel bad. He ignored any requests for better working conditions. The younger employees seemed demotivated and tired. Harrison. This situation was unacceptable. He always believed that the foundation of a good business was respect and valuing the team. But seeing the reality he had overlooked made him realize how far he was from his own values. In one particular moment, while he was pushing a cart with clean towels down the hallway, he crossed paths with Paul and heard a mocking comment. Come on. Hurry up with that. It seems some employees never learn to work quickly. Harrison held back from reacting, responding only with a silent nod that he knew he would need to endure moments like this to get to the bottom of the issue and fully understand the situation. Still, seeing how Paul treated others made it clear that there was a serious problem in the hotel's management. Let's play a little. Lily. If you could change anything in your life right now, what would it be? He asked, trying to come across as just a curious friend. She thought for a moment before answering, as if the weight of the question required deep reflection. I think I'd spend more time with Ben. He's my priority. Sometimes I feel like. Type chocolate in the comments. Only those who make it this far will understand. Now, let's continue with the story. One evening, after a particularly tough day, Harrison met with Lily in the staff area. She looked tired. As always. Had that serene glow in her eyes. As they talked, She said that some of her colleagues were thinking of quitting because they couldn't stand the unfriendly environment and the manager's mean behavior anymore. I think Paul wants us to remember that our job is to help people. He always tells us that we could be replaced easily. She said this with a sad face. Those words echoed in Harrison's mind. He knew that for many, the chance to change was almost impossible. He, on the other hand, had the power to change everything. He would need to do it at the right time. He began to make a plan in his mind. He knew that at the end of this experience, something would need to change. Those words lingered in Harrison's mind. He knew that for many, the chance to change was almost non-existent. He, on the other hand, had the power to change everything. He would need to act at the right moment. Internally, a decision began to take shape. He knew that at the end of this experience, something would need to be done to restore respect and dignity to each of the employees. The realities he faced daily as Hank made him feel renewed determination. Each day in disguise made him understand the depth of his responsibility as a leader. Alongside Lily, he felt he had found a greater inspiration for this transformation. As time went on, the connection between Harrison and Lily became more intense. The friendship they built during quick work breaks and conversations about life was turning into something deeper. Harrison realized that he cared for her in a way he never imagined possible. The strength of that feeling began to weigh on his disguise. Harrison was no longer just the millionaire investigating his own hotel. Someone who felt an increasing need to be sincere. One afternoon, as they finished cleaning an event hall, Lily shared one of the most vulnerable moments of her life. She talked about the challenge of raising her son alone. The sleepless nights when he was sick. The difficulties of balancing work and motherhood. Sometimes I feel like I can't handle it, she said. But then I think of his smile. It gives me the strength to keep going. Harrison listened in silence, his heart heavy. Every word she spoke revealed a strength he had never seen before. This was the woman he was beginning to. He loved someone who made him feel more human and more connected to real life. At the same time, he had a problem. He had to tell her that he was actually the owner of the hotel. He also had to tell her that he had been hiding it from the beginning. One late afternoon, while they were outside the hotel, Harrison, he could no longer avoid the topic and tried, though indirectly, to find out her thoughts on honesty. Lily, what would you do if you found out that someone you admire had kept an important secret from you? He asked. Trying to find out her reaction, she thought for a moment and replied firmly. I think it depends on the reason. For me, trust is essential. Any relationship, whatever it may be, only exists when there's sincerity. Her words felt like a slap in the face to Harrison. He knew that each day he went without revealing who he really was made the prospect of a future with her more complicated. At the same time, he feared that revealing himself would. He loved someone who made him feel more human and more connected to real life. At the same time, his dilemma grew. How could he tell her that he was actually the owner of the hotel? And worse, how would she react when she found out he had been hiding it from the beginning? One late afternoon, while they were outside the hotel, Harrison destroyed everything they had built together. He was trapped in a dilemma with no way out. As she said goodbye that night, Harrison stayed back, watching her walk away. He knew he had to make a decision. More and more, he saw that his life, filled with wealth and power, hadn't prepared him for this moment. Lily made him see. He was in love with someone who made him feel more human and more connected to real life. At the same time, His dilemma grew. How could he tell her that he was actually the owner of the hotel? Worse. How would she react when she found out he had been hiding it from the beginning? One late afternoon, while they were outside the hotel, Harrison. The world from a new angle. Each day this experience was transforming him. Determined to wait for the right moment, he carried on with his routine. Now with one certainty, he had to find a way to reveal who he really was without hurting her in the process. The next morning, Harrison arrived at the hotel already feeling the weight of his pending decision. He knew that at some point, he would have to reveal his true identity to Lily. It still didn't feel like the right time. Meanwhile, the pressure in the hotel was continuing to mount. Especially due to the manager, Paul, whose behavior was becoming more problematic and abusive. He watched Paul closely. Now that he was more involved in the staff's daily routine, he saw the direct impact of Paul's toxic leadership. Paul seemed to take a particular pleasure in humiliating and intimidating those under his command. Especially new hires like Hank and employees he considered subordinates. Like Lily. Harrison could see how this affected Lily, who always tried to stay positive. Though at times she couldn't hide her frustration and exhaustion. One especially busy afternoon, Paul found some minor excuse to scold Lily. She was helping a family find their room when Paul showed up. Crossing his arms and adopting his usual. Lily was upset. She felt like she couldn't be with him because of his job. Harrison was angry. He told her that she wasn't supposed to be there. He said that he had told the housekeeping staff not to talk to guests. He said that she should just do her job. Lily felt embarrassed. She felt like she had to do what he said because of the public humiliation. He loved someone who made him feel more human and more connected to real life. At the same time, his dilemma grew. How could he tell her that he was actually the owner of the hotel? Worse. How would she react when she found out he had been hiding it from the beginning? One late afternoon, while they were outside the hotel, Harrison saw Paul's words hurt her. Harrison, watching the scene from a distance, felt anger rising inside him. He wanted to step in. He knew that, as Hank, he couldn't confront Paul without risking his entire plan. Still, the situation became unbearable when he saw Lily walk away with tears in her eyes. Struggling to hide her frustration, he waited until the hallway was empty. Then followed her. He found her in the staff break area, sitting with her face in her hands. Harrison sat beside her in silence, offering quiet support. After a moment, Lily lifted her head and gave him a faint, fragile smile. "I'm sorry, Hank. I'm being weak. It's just that sometimes this place feels so heavy," she admitted, trying to hold back her tears. "There's nothing weak about that," Lily replied. "Quite the opposite. You've been incredibly strong every day, enduring what no one should have to. I don't understand why Paul treats you that way. I don't understand why either," Harrison responded, holding back his frustration. She took a deep breath. "This place feels so heavy," she admitted, trying to hold back her tears. "There's nothing weak about that, Lily. Quite the opposite. You've been incredibly strong every day, enduring what no one should have to. I don't understand why Paul treats you that way," Harrison responded, holding back his frustration. She took a deep breath, trying to regain her composure. "Paul's always been like this. I think he likes showing us how disposable we are," she said. It's part of his personality. Everyone just knows how he is. Hearing her words brought Harrison great sadness. It was as if she had come to accept the disrespect and humiliation he had put her through. That was unacceptable. It only strengthened his resolve to do something about it. He knew that a change was urgently needed. Not only for Lily's sake. For everyone working under such pressure. That night, Harrison stayed up late, thinking about how to confront Paul without revealing his identity. He was impatient. That was unacceptable. It only made him more determined to do something. He knew that a change was urgently needed. Not only for Lily's sake but for everyone working under such pressure. That night, Harrison stayed up late, thinking about how to confront Paul without revealing who he was. He was impatient. He knew he needed to be cautious. Finally, he decided he would confront Paul the next shift. No matter what. The next day, Harrison found Paul in the break room, complaining to other staff about the poor work of some housekeeping team members. It was the perfect opportunity. "Paul, can I talk to you for a moment?" Harrison knew he needed to be careful. Finally, he decided he would talk to Paul in the next shift. No matter what it cost. The next day, Harrison found Paul in the break room, complaining to other staff about the poor work of some housekeeping team members. It was the perfect opportunity. "Paul, can I talk to you for a moment?" Harrison said, keeping his voice steady. Paul looked at him with a mix of disdain and surprise. "What is it, Hank?" Paul asked. "I'm busy. It's about how you're treating the staff. I think you're being unfair to some people here." Paul let out a mocking laugh, attracting the attention of other employees. "Unfair? Listen here. You're new. I'll let that slide. I am the manager. I know my job. If you think you can teach me something, you're very mistaken." Harrison kept his calm. Didn't back down. "I just think you could be more respectful. Everyone here is doing their best. Oh. Now we have a defender of the weak and oppressed." Paul sneered, staring at Harrison with a Harrison knew he needed to be careful. Finally, he decided he would talk to Paul during the next shift. No matter what. The next day, Harrison found Paul in the break room, complaining to other staff about the poor work of some housekeeping team members. It was the perfect opportunity. "Paul, can I talk to you for a moment?" Harrison, challenging look. "Listen, Hank. I'm in charge here. If you don't like how I run things, maybe this place isn't for you." Paul's words echoed. Harrison had to hold himself back from reacting in a way that would reveal his true identity. It was obvious that Paul saw the employees as expendable. It disgusted him. He knew this. Harrison knew that talking to Paul wouldn't change his attitude. He had to do something. He knew that he could take action at any moment. Later that day, Harrison found Lily again. She looked tired. She still looked upset about what had happened earlier. Harrison felt bad for her. He knew he needed to be careful. Finally, he decided he would talk to Paul in the next shift. Whatever it costs. The next day, Harrison found Paul in the break room, complaining to other staff about the poor work of some housekeeping team members. It was the perfect opportunity. "Paul, can I talk to you for a moment?" Harrison, I felt sorry for her. Sat next to her, trying to find the right words. "Lily, you deserve so much more than this," he said, his voice full of sincerity. "No one should be treated this way." She smiled, Her eyes showed her exhaustion. Sometimes I think about leaving. I look for other opportunities. None of Lily looked at him and saw a true friend in him. Someone who genuinely cared. She thanked him with a warm look. For a moment, the fatigue seemed to lift. As she walked away, Harrison felt an urgent need to solve this problem. His plan was clear, once he revealed who he was. Paul. The next day, Harrison found Paul in the break room, complaining to other staff about the poor work of some housekeeping team members. It was the perfect opportunity. Paul. Can I talk to you for a moment? I feel stuck. I can't pay enough to support my son and cover all the expenses. Harrison wanted to tell her that everything would change soon. He would make sure to transform the hotel's environment. He couldn't reveal his plan just yet. So he decided to simply offer his support. Whatever you need. I'm here. You're not. He knew he needed to be careful. Finally, he decided he would talk to Paul in the next shift. No matter what. The next day, Harrison found Paul in the break room, complaining to other staff about the poor work of some housekeeping team members. It was the perfect opportunity. Paul. Can I talk to you for a moment? Alone. Lily looked at him and, the first time, saw a true friend in him. Someone who genuinely cared. She thanked him with a warm look. For a moment, the fatigue seemed to lift. As she walked away, Harrison felt an urgent need to solve this problem growing inside him. His plan was clear, once he revealed who he was. Paul. He knew he needed to be careful. Finally, he decided he would talk to Paul in the next shift. No matter what. The next day, Harrison found Paul in the break room, complaining to other staff about the poor work of some housekeeping team members. It was the perfect opportunity. Paul. Can I talk to you for a moment? Harrison would be the first to answer for his behavior. Most importantly, he would make sure that Lily and everyone else never felt undervalued in that place again. Until then, he would stay by her side, strengthening their bond and preparing the ground for the change that was about to happen. Weeks had passed. The atmosphere in the hotel seemed increasingly heavy. Paul intensified his authoritarian stance, pressuring the employees and treating them with obvious disdain. Harrison. The limit was near. He knew he couldn't stay in disguise much longer and was waiting for the right moment to reveal his identity and implement the necessary changes. Over the next few days, Harrison's bond with Lily grew stronger. The time they spent together was a welcome break from the daily challenges. Harrison felt a deep connection with her. He was also worried about the lie he had told about his identity. He knew that the truth could ruin everything they had built together. He knew he needed to be careful. Finally, he decided he would talk to Paul in the next shift. No matter what. The next day, Harrison found Paul in the break room, complaining to other staff about the poor work of some housekeeping team members. It was the perfect opportunity. Paul. Can I talk to you for a moment? The fear of losing her trust left him upset. After a long and exhausting work day, Harrison and Lily were sitting in the staff area having coffee. The exhaustion was clear on their faces. The comfortable silence between them was reassuring. You know, Hank, working here is a roller coaster. Some days seem unbearable. I think about the people who care. The small moments that make it worthwhile. That's what gives me the strength to keep going. Lily said, giving him a grateful look. Harrison felt a tightness in his chest. He knew the time had come. He could no longer sustain the lie. He was determined to reveal his identity and finally end the cycle of abuse and humiliation that Paul caused. By taking his rightful position, he could change that reality and improve the lives of the employees. The next morning, Harrison took action. He organized a meeting to thank the employees for their work and commitment. The news spread quickly. The hotel owner would be present. The curiosity and anticipation. The employees were excited and nervous. Harrison was nervous because he knew the news would be a shock to Lily. He was worried about how she would react and what would happen. Let's play a little game with those who only read the comments. Type hamburger in the comments. Only those who make it this far will understand. Now, let's continue with the story. When the time for the meeting arrived, Harrison entered the event hall, where everyone was waiting for him. Dressed in his usual suit with a firm stance, he was no longer the man everyone had come to know. The looks he received were filled with respect and surprise. Especially from Lily, who stared at him wide-eyed. The time for the meeting arrived. Harrison entered the event hall, where everyone was waiting for him. He was dressed in his usual suit. He stood with his head held high. He was no longer the man everyone had come to know. The looks he received were filled with respect and surprise. Especially from Lily, who stared at him wide-eyed, unable to believe the transformation. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. Harrison began seriously. To some of you, I'm just a name behind this hotel chain. Over the past few weeks, I've had the chance to work alongside you. I've seen firsthand the effort and dedication each of you puts into this hotel every day. The room fell silent. The employees were stunned. Harrison felt Lily's gaze on him, trying to process how the man she'd worked closely with. The hotel owner said that he had seen injustices and unacceptable situations, like the disrespectful ways some guests were treated. He said that he was there to make a difference. That starts with an apology to anyone who has ever felt undervalued. As he spoke, Paul, the manager, looked uncomfortable. He tried to stay calm. You could see that he was scared. Harrison looked directly at Paul, making it clear that he was next. He started to sound serious. Over the past few weeks, I've noticed how you act around the staff. I've seen how you treat people with disdain, as if they're inferior. I've seen mistreatment, humiliation, disrespect. That's not leadership. I will no longer allow that kind of behavior in this hotel. Paul turned pale. He tried to defend himself. Mr. Blake, if I may, I've always done my job to the best of my ability. Maintaining order requires discipline. And Harrison firmly interrupted him. Discipline is not about embarrassing or scaring people. Paul, efficiency is not about making the people working with you feel small. These employees are the heart of this hotel. They are the ones who make things run, who take care of guests, make sure they are happy. You, instead of leading and inspiring them, have chosen to treat them as if they can be thrown away. Paul tried again, clearly nervous. Mr. Blake, I was just following the company's standards of efficiency. No, Paul, I don't respect people who don't respect others. I'm not like that. I'm not going to be in my hotel. Harrison replied, sounding final. You had your chance to lead. You used your position to take advantage of others. Therefore, you're officially fired. I hope this teaches you about respect and leadership. The employees exchanged glances. many looking both surprised and relieved. Humiliated. Paul shot Harrison one last look of hatred before leaving the hall without another word. Murmurs, everyone in the room felt relieved and happy. Harrison looked at the employees with a serious face. This time, he looked at them with a look of understanding. From now on, I promise this hotel will be a place where you can work with dignity and respect. I want each of you to know that you are valued. As he spoke, his eyes met Lily's, who was still watching him with a mixture of confusion and sadness. She seemed shaken, clearly struggling to process the fact. He knew he had to explain who he really was. This was a moment for her to think. Lily, I know this disguise seemed like a lie. Working with you and getting to know your story changed me deeply. I should have been honest from the start. I understand if you're hurt. Lily shook her head, frustration in her eyes. So was all this just a game? Were you just observing us? Observing me? Harrison felt the sting of it back would take time. Despite the pain, he respected her need to step away. In the days that followed, Harrison made quick changes at the hotel. When Paul left, Harrison chose leaders who were fair and focused on valuing the team. This news made the employees feel better. They started working with more ease and confidence. Even though things were improving, Harrison still felt empty. Lily's distance. One night, as Harrison was leaving the hotel, he saw Lily waiting for him. When she saw him, she hesitated but didn't look away. Harrison realized this was his chance. Lily, can we talk? He asked sincerely. She nodded. They walked to a quiet area in the hotel garden. Harrison then revealed everything, explaining the situation. Lily's distance. One night, as Harrison was leaving the hotel, he saw Lily waiting for him. When she saw him, she hesitated but didn't look away. Harrison realized this was his chance. Lily, can we talk? He asked sincerely. She nodded. They walked to a quiet area in the hotel garden. Harrison then revealed everything, the reasons for his disguise, his intentions, his genuine feelings for her. I wanted to understand the weight of your work. What you all really go through here. Meeting you made me realize I needed to change this place. You were my inspiration. Everything I feel for you is real. Harrison said, pouring his heart into his words. She listened in silence, carefully weighing each word. Finally, she responded softly. Harrison, it's not easy to forget how everything happened. I see you really want to change. That you care. I just need time to trust again. He accepted. Relieved. He knew rebuilding the trust between them would be a long journey. He was ready to take every step with her. In the days that followed, Harrison worked hard to make changes at the hotel. He knew he needed to improve the work environment and create a culture of respect and support. He wanted to get rid of the negative influence Paul had on the staff. As time went on, Harrison saw that his actions were having a positive effect. The employees were more excited about their work. Communication improved. For the first time, he felt that the hotel was a place where people could grow and work together. Despite all the progress, Lily's absence continued to hurt him. Although she still worked at the hotel, she avoided any personal contact with him. Harrison respected her choice. He felt sad every day because she was no longer there. He tried to focus on the hotel's improvements. He thought about Lily all the time. Lily was determined to stay away from him. She worked very hard. She was trying to understand the truth and how it affected her. She knew Harrison. He was changing the hotel for the better. She appreciated his efforts. She was still hurt by the revelation that he was the man she had shared so many conversations and confidences with. Still, she couldn't deny that she missed the closeness and sincerity she believed they shared. Harrison respected her choice. He felt sad every day. He tried to focus on the hotel's improvements. He thought about Lily all the time. Lily was determined to stay away from Harrison. One quiet Saturday afternoon, Harrison was in his office, looking at some ideas for improving the hotel. Then he heard a soft knock on the door. Looking up, he saw Lily standing there. She looked hesitant. She also looked determined. "Lily," Harrison said, surprised and with his heart racing. "Please come in." She walked slowly into the room. Harrison respected her choice. He felt sad every day because she was gone. He tried to focus on the hotel's improvements. He thought about Lily all the time. Lily decided to stay away from Harrison. She worked very hard, trying to understand what she felt. She knew Harrison. She closed the door. They were silent for a long time. Harrison waited for her to speak. Finally, she took a deep breath and began. Her voice was firm. "I wanted to say that I've noticed everything you've been doing for us. The changes. How you've transformed the hotel. I see that you really care about everyone here. In a way, it makes me believe your intentions were genuine." Harrison nodded, feeling the weight of her words. "Lily, I did all this because I learned so much from you. Seeing the world through your eyes showed me the importance of respect, empathy, love for others that I know I was wrong to hide who I was. But my feelings for you have always been real." She looked away, visibly upset. "It's hard for me to trust you, Harrison, when I found out the truth. It felt like everything we had built crumbled. But I want to believe people can change." Harrison breathed a sigh of relief, seeing an opening in her words. "I know I can't erase the past." Harrison respected her choice. He felt sad every day because she was gone. He tried to focus on the hotel's improvements. He thought about Lily all the time. Lily decided to be distant from Harrison. She worked hard to understand what had happened and how it made her feel. She knew Harrison. She wanted to prove that she could trust him. She promised that she would never hide anything from him again if he gave her a chance. They sat in silence, thinking about what had happened. The air felt lighter. For the first time since the revelation, Harrison felt like there was hope. He didn't expect Lily to forgive him right away. She was willing to listen to him and acknowledge his efforts, which was a big step for her. Finally, Lily looked at him and smiled shyly. "I still need time," she said. "But we can start slow. Maybe we can try to rebuild what we had, little by little." Harrison nodded respectfully. "Take all the time you need. That I'll be here. That I won't force anything. That I'll be by your side whenever you need me." Lily smiled. In that moment, a small spark of trust began to reappear between them. They talked for a few more minutes, discussing ideas for improving conditions for the employees and small projects they could collaborate on. Even though they knew it, Harrison respected her choice. He felt sad each day because he missed her. He tried to focus on the hotel's improvements. He couldn't stop thinking about Lily, determined to keep her distance. Lily worked hard to process her feelings. She knew that Harrison would be a long journey. There was a feeling that step by step, they were rebuilding something valuable. As Lily left the office, Harrison felt a lightness he hadn't felt in weeks. He knew there was still a lot to do. He was willing to fight for their relationship and to prove he was worthy of her trust. In the following days, Harrison and Lily started interacting with each other again. They were careful and slow. She was still a bit distant. She let him help with some projects to make the hotel better. They started having small meetings with employees to hear what else could be improved. Harrison. Working with Lily was a chance to show that he was serious about his job. One afternoon, after a meeting with employees, Harrison and Lily were in the break room, having coffee and talking about new ideas. At one point, she relaxed and laughed at something he said made Harrison realize how much he had missed that genuine smile. However, there was still a cautious look in her eyes, as if she wanted to make sure she wouldn't be hurt again. "Lily, I just want you to know that I never played with your feelings," Harrison said softly, taking the opportunity to clear the air. "You're the reason I'm trying my best here. Everything I've done has been inspired by you." She looked at him, her smile fading slightly. Her gaze remained gentle. "Harrison, I understand your intentions and I see how hard you're working to change things. This experience has taught me to be careful. I just hope you." Broken trust takes time to rebuild. He nodded, respecting her words that he knew it was a long process. That each day with her was a gift. Harrison was learning that respect and patience were essential to rebuilding their relationship. That also meant not pressuring her to forgive him before she was ready. As the weeks passed, the transformation in the hotel became evident. The employees were more motivated. The atmosphere was lighter and more positive. Even the guests began to notice the change in the place's energy. Harrison, in addition to overseeing new projects, also took on simple operational tasks. He knew that his presence showed that he was a committed leader. He wanted everyone to see that he cared about every part of the work. One day, while Harrison was in the lobby talking with some guests, he saw Lily watching him from a distance. She seemed surprised, perhaps even moved, to see him working. Presence was a sign of commitment. He wanted everyone to see that he was a leader who cared about every part of the work. One day, while Harrison was in the lobby talking with some guests, he saw Lily watching him from far away. She seemed surprised, maybe even moved, to see him working so hard on something that he could easily give to one of his managers. This made him feel a little hopeful, as if she was starting to see the positive effects of his change. At the end of his shift, as Lily was preparing to leave, Harrison met her at the hotel exit. "Are you enjoying the changes?" he asked her. Genuine smile. She stopped and looked at him thoughtfully. "Yes. The hotel really feels different. I think everyone senses it. I can see you're committed to what you promised." Seeing an opportunity, Harrison invited her out for coffee somewhere outside the hotel where they could talk without the formality of the work environment. Surprised, Lily hesitated, eventually accepted the invitation. They went to a nearby cafe, where the conversation flowed more naturally and easily. The first time, Harrison felt the wall of mistrust between them start to come down. As they talked, he opened up more about his own story. Something he'd never done. Presence was a sign of commitment. He wanted everyone to see that he was a leader who valued every part of the work. One day, while Harrison was in the lobby talking with some guests, he saw Lily watching him from a distance. She seemed surprised, perhaps even moved, To see him working. Before. He had talked about how lonely it was to have power. How it meant being far away from friends and family. He had chosen to build his empire. Lily listened quietly, taking in every word. She began to see that behind the successful businessman's facade, there was someone who was also searching for something real. Harrison. Have you ever asked yourself what you really want besides success? She asked gently. Her tone kind but genuinely curious. He stayed silent for a moment. Thinking. The truth is, I never really knew. I thought having a prestigious hotel chain, respect, success would be enough. Now I see that it means nothing if you have no one to share it with. Meeting you made me realize what truly matters. Lily looked at him with a mix of understanding and compassion. Although the pain of disappointment was still there, she could see a man genuinely trying to be better, not just for her, for himself and everyone around him. On the way back, the silence between them was comfortable. Harrison felt that for the first time. A fresh start between them was truly possible. Over time, Harrison and Lily continued to share moments together outside the formal hotel environment, deepening their connections slowly and genuinely. Each encounter seemed to bring them closer. Even though both Harrison and Lily were cautious. Harrison wanted to show Lily how much he had changed and learned since they met. He encouraged the staff to participate in training and invest in their education and development. Harrison also created a feedback policy where everyone could share their opinions and suggest improvements. This open communication system transformed how everyone viewed their work, creating an environment where appreciation and respect were palpable. Lily was deeply involved in this process. She took on a leadership role in the cleaning team, helping Harrison identify areas needing improvement and guiding new employees. Her charisma and dedication made her a role model in the hotel. Harrison admired how she inspired those around her. One sunny afternoon, after a training event for the staff, Harrison and Lily decided to walk in the park near the hotel. As they walked side by side, Harrison finally brought up a topic he had long hesitated to discuss. Lily. He began breaking the silence. Have you ever thought about taking on a more formal leadership role here at the hotel? Hotel. You have a natural talent for inspiring people. You know the operational details better than anyone. Lily looked at him, surprised, also a little hesitant. I've never thought about it. Being in charge seems so distant. I've always seen myself as someone who helps behind the scenes. Harrison smiled, encouraging her. Sometimes that's exactly the kind of person we need in charge, someone who understands everyone's work and values the small tasks like you do. They continued walking in silence as Lily processed the proposal. The idea of leading was both exciting and intimidating. At the same time, she felt inspired by Harrison's recognition and the trust he placed in her. A few days later, Lily decided to accept the offer. Harrison was genuinely moved by her decision. They began working together to decide what her new responsibilities would be. This transition process was also a way to further strengthen their bond. Harrison couldn't deny the pride he felt seeing her develop and shine in her new role. As months passed, Lily took on her new position with confidence. Implementing the team came up with ideas to improve the hotel's environment. They were inspired by her empathetic leadership. They became more engaged. Guests noticed the difference. The hotel now had a welcoming and caring atmosphere. It was more than just a superficial luxury. Harrison and Lily found a new way to relate to each other. They were now more mature and balanced in their relationship. Their feelings for each other deepened. They both respected the natural pace of things. They understood that time was essential to rebuild trust. The next evening, after a fun staff event, Harrison invited Lily to dinner. They felt relaxed and comfortable talking about their future plans and laughing about memories from when he was still Hank. During a moment of silence, Harrison felt very grateful to have her with him. "Lily, you know that all of this, the changes, the improvements, what the hotel has become would never have happened if I hadn't met you. You made me see what really matters." She smiled, feeling moved. Gently held his hand. "Harrison, it made me realize that people can change. I've learned that we need to give second chances to others and to ourselves." At that moment, they both felt ready to leave the past behind and start a future together. This future would be built on trust, respect, a love that had grown stronger over time. Even though it was born out of uncertainty, Harrison and Lily grew closer each day. Their feelings for each other were clear, even without words. The time they spent together at the hotel, working side by side to build something meaningful, created an over time. Harrison and Lily had grown close and trusted each other. Harrison wanted to be a part of Lily's life in every way. To do this, he would need to gain the trust of Lily's young son, Ben. One Saturday, as Harrison and Lily were leaving a meeting, he noticed her looking worried as she checked the time. "Do you have to be somewhere?" he asked. Curious. She smiled a bit embarrassed. "I promised to pick up Ben from a friend's house," she said. "I'm a little late." Harrison thought for a moment, then asked, "Can I come with you? I'd like to meet him." Lily looked surprised. She saw that Harrison was serious and nodded with a smile. They drove to the quiet neighborhood. Ben was playing with his friends. When they arrived, Harrison felt nervous. Meeting Lily's son was an important step. He wanted it to go well. As soon as Ben saw them, he ran over to Lily with a big smile and threw himself into her arms. He was a 6-year-old. The old man had bright eyes and an infectious laugh. He was as warm and honest as his mother. When he saw Harrison next to her, he looked at him curiously. Lily smiled and introduced them. "Ben. This is Harrison. He's my friend and he works with me at the hotel." Harrison knelt down to be at Ben's eye level. Ben shook Harrison's outstretched hand confidently, displaying surprising boldness for someone so young. "Hey, Ben. Your mom talks about you a lot. I heard you're a big superhero fan. Who's your favorite?" Harrison asked, hoping to break the ice. Ben's face lit up. He answered immediately, smiling with excitement. "Spider, wow. He can climb walls. He's really brave. Great choice." "Harrison," he laughed, feeling more at ease. "Spider-Man is awesome. You've got great taste." Lily watched the interaction. Her eyes glistened as she witnessed the affectionate way Harrison was treating her son. She felt a sense of relief and joy when she saw the immediate connection between them. They spent the rest of the afternoon together, with Harrison sharing funny stories from his childhood. Ben laughed and asked a lot of questions. By the end of the day, Harrison felt he had made a real friend. He realized that Ben was a lot like Lily, genuine, cheerful, full of life. As they walked back to the car, Harrison felt a growing desire to be more involved in their lives. They wanted to become part of their small family. In the weeks that followed, the three of them shared more and more moments together. Lily gradually allowed Harrison to get closer to Ben. The boys soon began treating Harrison as a trusted friend. One evening, after dinner, Ben came up to Harrison with a mischievous smile. "Are you going to be my mom's superhero?" he asked. His voice full of childlike sincerity. Lily laughed a bit, embarrassed, while Harrison smiled warmly. "I'll do my best, Ben," he said. "Maybe one day I can be as brave as Spider-Man." Ben seemed happy with the answer. Lily looked at Harrison with a mix of affection and gratitude. She knew that letting him into her and her son's lives was a big step. Everything Harrison did seemed real and true. One evening, after putting Ben to bed, Harrison and Lily sat in her small backyard looking up at the stars. The quiet moment brought a deep peace. They both stayed quiet. Ben seemed happy with the answer. Lily looked at Harrison with a mix of affection and gratitude. She knew that letting him into her and her son's lives was a big step. Everything Harrison did seemed true and honest. One evening, after putting Ben to bed, Harrison and Lily sat in her small backyard looking at the stars. The calm of the moment brought a deep peace. They both stayed quiet and joined each other's company. "It's funny," Lily said. "I never imagined that someone like you, someone like us, would end up here. Like this. Together." Lily broke the silence with a gentle smile. Harrison looked at her, his heart racing. "I didn't expect my life to change this much. Either. Meeting you and Ben gave me something I didn't even know I needed." He reached out, gently holding her hand. Lily intertwined her fingers with his. His fingers touched hers. He felt a sense of security that he hadn't felt in a long time. Under the starlight, Harrison knew it was the right moment. He moved closer. Slowly, they kissed. Their kiss conveyed everything words couldn't: affection, respect, the promise of a future together. After the kiss, they hugged. Harrison felt he had finally found what he had been searching for. It wasn't about success, the hotel, money. It was about that moment that Harrison started to feel a strong connection with Lily. He wanted to be with her in real life. The three of them started spending a lot of time together. Harrison became a constant presence in Ben's life. He enjoyed taking Ben on weekend outings, whether to the park or to watch superhero movies. One time, he took Ben to an interactive museum where Ben could dress up as his favorite hero. Spider-Man, take photos. Man! Harrison had never felt so happy. He could see the sparkle in Ben's eyes. He knew these simple moments were the most important. One night, Harrison planned a surprise for Lily. He knew how much she loved to cook. He invited her to a special dinner he prepared himself. When she arrived, she found the table set with flowers and candles. Harrison, with an anxious smile, was waiting with dinner ready. "I know you're used to seeing gala events and dinners. Tonight I wanted to do something special. Just for us," he said, serving the appetizer. Lily looked at him, enchanted. They dined by the light of the moon. Candlelight. Laughter. Memories of the early days at the hotel. Afterwards, Harrison took Lily to the terrace, where he had set up a small surprise, a telescope for stargazing. "I wanted to show you something special," he said, adjusting the telescope and pointing to a bright star. "That star right there reminds me of you." It's always bright. It guides me. Lily smiled, touched by the thoughtfulness in his words. She turned to him, gently touching his face. You're already my son's hero. Mine too. Harrison. They hugged. He felt the love they shared was growing stronger and truer. At that moment, Harrison knew that Lily and Ben were his family. He would do everything to protect and love them. Months passed. The hotel, now under Lily's direct leadership, was more prosperous and welcoming than ever. Harrison felt extremely proud to see how Lily had taken on her responsibilities with determination and empathy. The work environment reflected her energy. The employees were treated with respect. The continuous improvement ideas she implemented made everyone feel like part of a big family. Lily was leading the hotel with grace and skill. Harrison knew he couldn't have done it without her. Every day they spent together showed that their love was deep and true. They shared everything: joys, challenges, dreams. Harrison was also a constant presence in Ben's life, being a role model and source of support that the boy had never had before. On weekends, they did activities together, such as picnics in the park, museum visits, movie nights with popcorn at home. To Ben, Harrison was more than a friend. He was someone he could trust. He felt like part of a real family. Over time, Harrison knew he needed to take a new step. He wanted Lily to know that she and Ben were his life, his priority, his family. Determined to show her how important she was to him, he began planning a marriage proposal. One special night, Harrison took Lily to dinner at a seaside restaurant. The night was illuminated by starlight and the soft sound of waves crashing against the rocks. They talked and laughed, remembering funny stories from their early days and thinking about how everything had changed since they met. Lily didn't suspect anything. Harrison became more and more anxious with every look after dinner. He invited her for a walk on the beach, where a small area was decorated with lights, rose petals, candles, adding a magical touch. The setting. Lily looked around, enchanted. Before she could say anything, Harrison knelt before her, holding a small box with a delicate, sparkling ring. Harrison, his heart racing, began, "From the moment I met you, my life completely changed. You taught me the value of humility, empathy, true love. Every day by your side makes me want to be a better man. You mean everything to me. I can't imagine a future without you." Lily Evans. "Will you marry me and build this family together?" With tears in her eyes and the brightest smile he'd ever seen, Lily nodded, "Yes." Harrison. "Yes. I'll share my life with you today and always." They embraced, both overwhelmed with emotion, as the world around them seemed to fade away. Harrison slipped the ring on her finger and kissed her under the starlit sky, knowing this was the beginning of a beautiful journey. The wedding day arrived. The entire hotel felt like an extension of Lily and Harrison's happiness. They decided to hold the ceremony in the hotel's gardens, decorated with flowers of every color and an arch adorned with ivy and white roses. The hotel staff, who had become like a big family to them, were all there, moved and happy to celebrate this special moment. Ben, dressed in a small blue suit, was beaming that he was to carry the rings. The thought of having Harrison as his father made him happier than anything. That he adored this man who treated him with love, made him laugh, was always there for him and his mom. To Ben, it was more than a wedding. It was the moment he would finally have the family he had always wished for. When Lily appeared at the aisle leading to the altar, Harrison felt breathless. She was stunning in a simple yet elegant dress, with a veil that gently swayed in the wind and a bouquet of lilies in her hands. Her eyes sparkled. Harrison slipped the ring on her finger and kissed her under the night sky, knowing this was the start of a beautiful journey. The wedding day arrived. The entire hotel felt like an extension of Lily and Harrison's happiness. They decided to hold the ceremony in the hotel's gardens, decorated with flowers of every color and an arch adorned with. Her smile seemed to light up the entire place. With his heart pounding, Harrison knew he was the luckiest man alive to have her by his side. Lily walked towards him, her gaze fixed on the man she loved. Each step carried all the love and the journey they had shared. When she finally reached the altar, Harrison held her hands tightly. Feeling the emotion of this long-awaited moment, Harrison slipped the ring on her finger and kissed her under the night sky, knowing this was the start of a beautiful journey. The wedding day arrived. The entire hotel felt like an extension of Lily and Harrison's happiness. They decided to hold the ceremony in the hotel's gardens, which were decorated with flowers of every color and an arch adorned with. The moment they had been waiting for had arrived. The ceremony was beautiful and full of emotion. The vows they exchanged were heartfelt and sincere. Harrison promised to be not only a devoted husband, also a loving father to Ben, vowing to do his best to make them happy every day. Lily, with tears in her eyes, promised to stand by his side through all life's moments, always with love and respect. When they both said, "I do," and were pronounced husband and wife, applause filled the air. Ben was the first to run to. Harrison slipped the ring on her finger and kissed her under the night sky, knowing this was the start of a beautiful journey. The wedding day arrived. The entire hotel felt like an extension of Lily and Harrison's happiness. They decided to hold the ceremony in the hotel's gardens, decorated with flowers of every color and an arch adorned with them hugging each other with pure joy. Harrison knelt down and pulled him close. The three of them stood there in a tight embrace, sealing the union that was far more than a wedding. It was the fulfillment of a new family. The celebration that followed was joyful and full of unforgettable moments. Ben danced with his mom, making everyone laugh with his clumsy attempts to keep up with the rhythm. Harrison also danced with Lily, holding her close and whispering words of love and gratitude in. Harrison slipped the ring on her finger and kissed her under the night sky, knowing this was the start of a beautiful journey. The wedding day arrived. The entire hotel felt like an extension of Lily and Harrison's happiness. They decided to hold the ceremony in the hotel's gardens, decorated with flowers of every color and an arch adorned with. Every smile, every laugh, every toast was a celebration of the life they now shared. Later that night, while watching the guests enjoy the party, Harrison and Lily stepped away for a moment, walking to a quieter part of the garden. He pulled her close, wrapping her in his arms, looking at her with indescribable love. "You know this is just the beginning, don't you?" he said, smiling. Lily nodded, her eyes shining. "Yes. I couldn't be happier. You showed me what true love is, Harrison." They kissed under the starlit sky, feeling the peace and happiness of having found their place in the world. Harrison. Nothing was more precious than the family they had created. As he held Lily in his arms, he knew he was exactly where he was meant to be, with the people he loved, ready to live a life filled with love, trust, hope beside them. Do you think Harrison was right to keep the truth from Lily? Share your thoughts in the comments. Rate this story from 0 to 10. What score would you give? Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to follow all our stories. Be sure to watch more heartwarming stories by clicking here on the end screen.